toxic people in the church. And if there's any people left in the church who are not toxic, they become toxic enablers because they're either afraid to speak up for what's right, and or they don't say anything because they don't want to be targeted as being next. They don't want to be expelled. You see what I'm saying? And so they would rather go along with this groupthink and this confirmation bias, so to speak, than to open up their mouths and say, this is not right. Especially when they are feeling the heat of the majority of the people that's left in the church that is toxic. And so what happens when you end up with these situations like this, a lot of times the church leaders will say, oh, well, we need to outsource and bring somebody else in to kind of help with the culture of the church. We're in a place of stagnancy. They'll notice that they're not growing. And then the thing is because of their brokenness, lack of self-awareness is there. So they don't see that the reason that they're not growing is because the whole church is toxic. And they are the main parts of the problem. So they will say that they want people to come in. It will be written on paper. And so some of the halfway decent people that are left at the church will say, okay, we'll outsource and get someone to come in. But when the reality of it is what they're saying and what's written on paper is incongruent with their behaviors. They really don't want anyone else from outside to come in. Because if somebody from outside comes in, what does that mean? Changes have to occur. If that person is non-narcissistic and they come into some mess like that, they're going to have to make changes. And that means that people are going to have to be pulled from their positions. The whole church would have to change. And remember, the problem with narcissistic people is that they think that there's nothing wrong with them. So you've got a problem on your hands. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times they will say that they want help and they don't want help. And then the churches becomes more and more toxic, right? And so the thing about it too is that it didn't just happen overnight with these kind of churches getting like this, like of what John is explaining to Gaius. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow burn. My sinuses are acting up. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow burn. People in the church, like I said, who are the enablers, they often have let it slide. Well, I don't feel like saying anything this time. I don't want to be the oddball out, so they don't say anything. And then it turns to like 10 times they haven't said anything. Then 20 times they haven't said anything. And then before you know it, all of those toxic spirits are coming inside of them. So you don't know who the main narcissistic people are. You can't tell them from the toxic enablers. You know, they all look and sound the same. You see what I'm saying? And so what happens is that what will often happen in these toxic churches, those few people that's left, either they're going to hop on board or they're going to have their lives slandered, right? And all of these different scenarios made up about them. All of a sudden, they've stolen money from the church. They've been with deacon, so-and-so's husband or wife, right? And all of this type of thing, all kind of stuff made up about them so that they will feel the pressure to conform, right? And I want to take you right back again to John 10:10. It says, the thief cometh to steal, kill, and destroy. But I came to give you life and to give it to you more abundantly. So there's only one of two things going on, according to that scripture. In any type of situation, either we are bringing life to people, right?